Welcome into HogvilleNET YouTube Live. It is Sunday afternoon. Folks maybe just getting out of church, but it's been busy in Arkansas athletics today. We were on earlier with the recorded show for basketball. Hope you've checked that out. Will later today. A lot of good updates, a lot of intel, but man, big news right now. This is breaking news within the last half hour. I received an email from the football program at the University of Arkansas. It's all over social media. It's all over Twitter, just about everywhere else you look. Arkansas athletics director Hunter Yurachek is the name that's credited with this in terms of his decision or his action to fire Sam Pittman. 5 games into the 2025 season, so Sam Pittman in year 6, he basically didn't make it to 5.5 years. He has been terminated, relieved of duties. He is out as Arkansas's head coach. Bobby Petrino, the offensive coordinator, the former Arkansas coach for 4 seasons, 09 through 2011, back in charge. He is now the head coach, the interim head coach for the rest of the season. Now, the press release was pretty brief and had a quote from, comment from Hunter Yurachek thanking Sam Pittman, how much he wanted the job. Everybody knows the story, what it meant for Sam Pittman to get this opportunity. A guy that I think, aside from eventually becoming a head coach at Arkansas, I don't know that he was ever a coordinator for an offense. I know he was an offensive lineman, an offensive line coach, and did that at Arkansas as well. But Sam Pittman is out after a 2-3 start. Arkansas has lost 3 consecutive games. Got absolutely embarrassed on national television on Saturday to the tune of 56-13 to a good Notre Dame team. I don't know how good, but a good Notre Dame team. A team last year, not the same team, different quarterback, some lost some players, but that competed for a national championship in the playoffs. But you had the ugly loss on the road in Memphis. Yeah, you had a chance to win it. You shouldn't be in a situation to lose that game, in my opinion, if you're an SEC school. And, of course, prior to that, the road loss at Ole Miss. So different ways to lose, different levels of teams to lose to. But at the end of the day, it's all the things that went into what we saw, whether it was an ugly scoreboard or one you had a chance. And it went back to leadership at the top. It's what we've been talking about. We've had 2 special editions, myself and Blair Cartwright. By the way, we're going to jump back on at 1:30 for a full-on discussion. Going to take comments. We're really going to expand it and spend time on it. Way too many one-score games. Yeah, 7-19 in one-score games. You didn't have a one-score game yesterday after it was 14-10 advantage Notre Dame. Ended up blowing that game out pretty much by halftime. So you had Sam Pittman now 2 games below 500 in his entire time at Arkansas. So he was a game above 500 coming into this 3-game losing streak. The fact that Arkansas has a bye week before jumping back into SEC play against Tennessee 2 weekends from now, so it makes sense in terms of timing. You also had a lot of your players, now that you're 5 games in, that don't have the ability to cut it off after 4 games played to maintain a red shirt. So if you were worried about players bolting now and locking things down, shutting it down, and getting that red shirt year back and transfer, now the portal will be open. The portal will be open for 30 days. But again, you'll have players that may go ahead and finish the season out because they can't salvage a red shirt season because they've already played 5 games. That's just how it is. There are players that have been injured, whatever, or that haven't appeared in 4 games yet this season that may just go ahead and get in that portal. I mean, these things are going to happen. The other things we've talked about with Sam Pittman are the buyout. Well, as it stands now, Arkansas did not wait until he was a game below 500 in terms of when his current contract says you only pay him half of his salary that he's got coming to him. You don't have to pay 50% of that. That was if he dipped below 500 in games that started with his second season in Arkansas in 2021. That team ended up going 9-4. So the 3-7 COVID year, although it counts technically in his overall record, he's 2 games below 500. It does not count in the current contract in terms of when he dips below 500 at that starting point to get the buyout reduced, which would have gotten it had he been a game below 500 in this current deal from the time it started in 2021. You would be paying him upwards of $7 million, $6.9 million. As it is now, unless there's something negotiated, something that's not in the press release, something that's going to have a softer landing for everybody, based on what we know today, assuming he's just been terminated and there's no negotiated situation, then you're over $9 million, maybe roughly $9.5 million that you're going to owe him in a buyout. but enough's enough. I talked about it yesterday. I said I wouldn't be shocked if something happened as soon as this week, so that you have a full week going into your bye and another week to prepare. I thought at minimum it would be a coordinator, a defense on the defensive side of the ball, that there would be at least one head on the chopping block there. But that if it was Sam Pittman, I couldn't argue with it. I could see the sense in it. Money be damned, saving as much in the $2.5 million if you could wait a little longer. That I felt like this was his final time as Arkansas's coach, whether it's the end of the season, a little later in the season, or even now, and that we wouldn't be surprised if this happened. So that was on yesterday's post game that I did with Blair Cartwright. We spent about an hour and a half talking about how this should be the end, and it's the end, all right. The Sam Pittman era is over. He had one impressive season. That was that 9-4 campaign, Arkansas beating Penn State in the Outback Bowl. Had some good wins that year. Had a good win last year over Tennessee, fourth ranked. That came into Fayetteville. That was a big game, big win on the resume. But you go 6-6, you win the bowl game. So when you look at Sam Pittman's bowl record, 3-0. That's obviously good, but two of those seasons you were in the Liberty Bowl after 6-6 campaigns. 9-4 in year two, that looked like things were off and running, right? It looked like, this was the answer. And since then, it's been mediocre at best. You had a 4-8 season splashed in there. It was time. Now, the Bobby Petrino situation is no surprise at all either. Here's a guy that's had big time success at Louisville, at Arkansas. He had a stint as a head coach in the NFL with the Atlanta Falcons that in his 1 year, he didn't even make it the full year, dipped out to come and take the job at Arkansas. But, a guy that was back at Louisville, with the problems he had leaving Arkansas, eventually head coach at Missouri State. But here's a guy that's had success as a coordinator, as a head coach. But I said on yesterday's show, I'm not crazy about the idea outside of an interim situation. If you did move on from Sam Pittman now, I wasn't crazy about a situation beyond an interim to finish out the year of him getting the job. But in fact, in this press release, not only is he the interim coach, Hunter Yurachek stated in the release that there's going to be a national search, the typical language you hear when there's a coaching change, national search for the next coach, but that would include Bobby Petrino, who has expressed interest in getting the job, earning the job moving forward. So beyond the interim label, again, I said it yesterday. I mean, obviously you get what you get, and you live with what you get. And it's not like the guy doesn't have a winning track record and success at this level. But I said yesterday, I'm actually not in on that scenario in terms of what I would like to see happen with the football program. So I think his best days as a head coach are over. Obviously, if the powers that be, the athletic department, is Hunter Yurachek also going to be instrumental and keyed in to the next hire? As of now, we have to assume that because this has happened pretty quickly. You didn't even get to the midway point of the season technically, and he's still the AD. I was told by a source a couple of weeks ago that if things got bad enough, that he may not have a hand in making the final decision or having a strong voice in the room in terms of who the next hire is. So I don't know if something shifted after he had that meeting, which we said yesterday apparently went well, with the board of trustees and, looking ahead that, he's going to be safe. So we just don't know until more things play out. But we got a lot more to talk about. I'm going to dip out now. I'll be back on with Blair Cartwright again at 1:30. I just wanted to get this out. Make sure if you didn't already know that there is a change at the top for the Arkansas men's football program. Men's football, it's the only football program. There isn't a women's one. I'm so used to saying men's basketball. But Pittman out and Bobby Petrino in, at least for now. And that's, we got basketball comments in here. I did have a basketball show earlier. We talked about Tay Kenny, some of the other stuff. We'll be back on live later with basketball if we need to be, but I'll certainly be back on live here in less than an hour now, around 1:30 Central Time with Blair Cartwright, as we go back and forth and discuss this further. We wanted to get the news out. Thank you for joining me. See you very shortly on another live here on HogvilleNET YouTube. Thank you.